What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality podcast. I am your host. I am Caitlin Kenneth Smith. Now, on today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about how if you follow societal norms, you will most likely become unhealthy, not just physically, but also emotionally and spiritually. So if you want to be the best version of yourself, and you want to be your healthiest, and you want to be your happiest in all of these areas, you have to dare to be different. And that's the theme of the podcast, is dare to be different. And there's a quote that I want to bring up to help kind of set the tone and kind of give you a little bit of understanding on what direction we're going to go here. The quote goes like this: "The majority isn't always right. Sometimes the majority means all of the fools are on the same side." I do not know who quoted that. I heard it on a podcast. Today's society is a really interesting place. And Stone and I were actually on the couch last night. We were watching our favorite YouTube show that we literally have the show on loop at night. Good Mythical Morning. And an ad popped up for Marshalls. And I wasn't really paying attention to the ad, so I'm not really sure what happened in the ad. But all Stone said when the ad ended is that, wow, people these days are so blind or delusional to what's actually going on in the world and kind of what's going on around them. Because, and we spoke a little bit more about it, but it's because so many people are just so hyper-focused on certain things that are so insignificant. Things like, that they become addicted to because they're addicted to the pleasure. Whether that be like going out and buying a new thing, which there's nothing wrong with that, right? But so many people become so hyper fixated on it that they forget what truly matters in life. And that usually leads to depression, anxiety, lack of fulfillment, lack of purpose. And all of that comes down to what we are taught in society is quote unquote normal. And what is the route that we need to follow, and what is taught and preached to us from the people who are, quote unquote, more powerful than us. Today's society runs off of desire. We desire to be comfortable. We desire to have things come easy to us. We desire to not be put in unknown situations. So a lot of people run off of desire. So they try to make things as easy as possible. They try to make things as comfortable as possible. And in turn, as you've heard many, many times, not just on this podcast, but throughout your entire life, growth is seen outside of the comfort zone. Change is seen outside of the comfort zone. Success is seen outside of the comfort zone. So if we're constantly seeking the desire to be comfortable and have things be as easy as possible, then how the hell are we supposed to become the best version of ourselves and tap into our true potential? The world right now is moving in a really unhealthy direction. And I know that a lot of people are going to listen to this and they may disagree with me. And that's fine, because this is all of my opinion. This is my fucking podcast. I can say whatever the fuck I want. But I feel like the majority of people know me enough by now to understand kind of where my views lie. And that's why you're here. And I think that even if you're not somebody who agrees with everything that I say, which you shouldn't, because we're different people, and just because you don't agree with what just because you don't agree with everything that a person says doesn't mean that you can't listen and hear and take in information and form maybe different opinions based on what you're hearing. Because what happens more often than not is that people will listen and they'll hear something that they don't like and immediately turn it off and not even open their mind. If you open your mind, that's where you actually start growing and learning more. Because if you're only listening to things that are on your side, then you're never expanding your mind to get a different perspective. And that's the beauty of life. There are so many different perspectives from so many different people and so many different views that you can take in so much different information to articulate your view, your morals, your values. So what I mean by the world is moving in an unhealthy direction is physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, if you follow what the world is doing, you will be unhealthy. And right now, more than ever, we are in a purpose or a fulfillment crisis. Because we consume so much that it skews our reality. So an example of this would be, your brain knows that what's most common is what you show it the most. What's around it is what you show it the most. So if you're constantly scrolling through social media and looking at perfect bodies that are filtered, where you don't know what's actually going on, then your mind is going to start to play tricks on you and skew your actual reality. It's going to think that the majority of people look like that and you're an outlier and something's wrong with you. When in all reality, if you look at the world around you, if you're somebody who works out, who eats healthy, who pays attention to their mental health, who listens to podcasts to develop themselves, you're in the top 5% of people, the top 10% of people. You're up there. And I hate to say this, but, last week I was in Walmart. I hate to say that I was in Walmart. Hate to admit that. No, just kidding. I was in Walmart. I go to Walmart late night because it's closest and I don't feel like driving further. And you know what? Walmart has everything that I need. And they're always open late. Now, the funny thing about Walmart is if you go past 8 p.m., it's like a different crowd comes out. Everybody's wearing their pajamas, and I don't understand. And it's almost as if, now, obviously, it's not everyone. There's some sane people who go to Walmart. I go to Walmart, which isn't really saying much. But I was looking around, and I usually don't do this. But I don't know, I was in a mood. I was looking around, and I was like, damn. Sometimes I get so into the bubble of the fitness and health world that I'm in and training to be a competitive athlete and coaching people to become the best version of themselves, running a business, that I kind of fall blind to what the world really looks like around me and what the average American truly looks like. And, again, I have so much respect for somebody who is overweight, unhealthy, and is taking action to change their circumstances. What I have absolutely no respect for is somebody who is overweight, unhealthy, complains about it, and then I see their grocery cart and they have shit in it. And it's loaded with shit. So you can't tell me I can't afford it, because the reality is white rice is really fucking inexpensive. Potatoes are really fucking inexpensive. Bananas, really inexpensive. Meat can get expensive. However, tuna, chicken thighs, different things like that, you can invest that in. And instead of buying the $5 Oreos, you can maybe buy the chicken breast. It all comes down to choices. So if you're actively pursuing a better version of yourself, I respect the hell out of you. And I never understood how people could talk shit on people at the gym who were, a little bit overweight or unhealthy. I would always want to slap that person in the face and kick him out of my gym. Because that person's in there to become a better version of themselves, and they are working hard. And anybody who's out there pursuing a better version of themselves and working hard, I have so much respect for. But if you're somebody who's out there playing the victim, saying, boo me, boo hoo, why me, and you're not taking action to fix your own fucking circumstances, I have absolutely no sympathy for you. No problems, only solutions. You can always fucking figure it out. But a lot of us, again, fall into what the world is moving into the direction of. Running off of desire. We have an addiction to dopamine, which is our pleasure hormone. And what happens is that we want that dopamine hit, so we're seeking that pleasure. But then when the reality doesn't hit what we were desiring, we fall short and we kind of remain stuck in that never-ending cycle of, I need dopamine, I got it, but it didn't satisfy me because it wasn't what I was expecting, so now I need more, and I need more, and I need more, and it just leads to us consuming more, and creating less, and less. And we become hyper-fixated on so many different things. So like I said, we're in a purpose and a fulfillment crisis. And that leads to depression, anxiety. And right now, if we follow societal norms, we will be mediocre. You will settle for a mediocre life if you follow societal norms. They want you sick, they want you weak, they want you stupid, because that's easier to manipulate. 1 in 5 US adults live with a mental illness. Anxiety, depression, PTSD, OCD, ADHD. 1 in 5 youth, which is between the ages of 13 and 18, are currently or have experienced debilitating mental illness. That's unbelievable. And a lot of these things can be easily prevented through lifestyle, through food, through movement, through sunlight, through sleep, through putting the fucking phone down and living in the world that we are in. Going into the physical side of things, 60 to 90% of the standard American diet comes from highly processed foods. Think Oreos, think Doritos, foods that are literally manufactured and altered to get us to overconsume and become addicted to. These food companies literally pay millions and millions of dollars to be able to manufacture something that we can't stop eating so they can sell more product. They do not give a shit about your health. Does that mean you can't have an Oreo here and there? No, of course you fucking can. But if your diet is 60 to 90% of highly processed foods, it's no wonder you have a mental illness. And with that, 92% of Americans right now are suffering from at least one vitamin or mineral deficiency. 92% of people have at least one vitamin or mineral deficiency. Now, this is the scariest one. Obesity. 2 out of every 3 adults is overweight or obese. 1 out of 3 being obese. That has tripled since 1960. And guess when those highly palatable, highly processed foods became more popular? Right around that time in the 1960s, where they skyrocketed in the 80s. And the food pyramid is literally the worst social experiment ever to be done. It should literally be flipped upside down, saying that protein and healthy fats and vegetables and fruits are below processed carbs is unbelievable. Carbs are delicious. Carbs are fuel for your life. Carbs are fuel for training. If you want to ever perform at an elite level, you need carbohydrates. It's your body's preferred energy source, glucose. However, to put protein and healthy fats, which are 2 essential nutrients for survival, and put fruits and veggies below that is unbelievable. Because most people aren't trying to perform at a high level. They're telling you eggs, red meat, and salt are bad for you, and they cause cancer. But it's okay to eat fucking Fruit Loops and Lucky Charms? That's a problem. Obesity is literally the smoke, though. Because obesity is a problem, but it's the smoke. The flame is being under-muscled. Muscle is an endocrine organ. Endocrine meaning hormonal. It's anti-inflammatory, and it literally has the biggest influence on somebody's health. There's so much research out there that shows those who have less muscle have more chronic disease. Every single time. They also have a lower quality of life. They're more susceptible to mental illness. And let's go back to that red meat thing for a second. So they say red meat causes cancer. They being, I don't know who the fuck produces these articles, but they don't know their research or don't know how to read research, or they have an agenda that they're trying to push onto you because it gets attention and gives them more in their pocket. There is zero high quality evidence to support that red meat causes cancer. Food found in nature that we've eaten for centuries is being shit on. I'm not sure why. Now, with red meat, you want to keep in mind having grass-fed red meat as much as possible is going to be more optimal, as grass-fed is going to have more omega-3s, which are going to reduce inflammation, as opposed to ones that aren't grass-fed, that are grain-fed and generally pumped full of shit, that will have more omega-6s, which produce inflammation. Now, you need both omega-3s and omega-6s. You just need them in the right balance. Now, why do all these things happen? Like, I know that there was a time where, I think it was about a year ago, where a little picture came out on social media where it was like a pyramid, and it showed that red meat and eggs were less healthy than Lucky Charms. So why does that happen? Because it doesn't make any sense. And if you follow the nutritional guidelines put out by the government, you're going to be fat and unhealthy. But why? Because whoever has the money controls the narrative. Whoever has the money controls the narrative. And who has the money? So right now, the collective marketing for the dairy, meat, produce, farmers, we'll call them farmers, the collective marketing for farmers, their budget is $750 million for all of them. All of them, all over the country, $750 million collectively. PepsiCo alone has $2 billion for marketing. Data, research, and information can be manipulated by the source to fit an agenda because whoever has the money controls the narrative. Like I said, they want you sick, they want you weak, they want you stupid. Because that's easier to manipulate. So you have to dare to be different. Be boring. People call me boring all the time. I've been doing this for a really fucking long time. Oh, I don't go out on the weekends with the people in college because I gotta work on stuff. I gotta work on my job. I gotta go to the gym in the morning, so I can't be out too late. I gotta get a good night's sleep. I gotta eat my healthy meal. Dare to be different. Be fucking boring. Don't let other people suck you down to their level because they know that they don't have the discipline that you have to be able to achieve something great in their life. They're out there settling for mediocrity because they're chasing desire instead of chasing greatness like you. Go to the gym. Work on your passion project when everybody else is out drinking. Create more than you consume. Use real medicine, and by real medicine I mean nutrition, movement, sunshine, sleep, hydration. Communicate with people and look them in the eye. Shake their hand and want to learn more about them. The amount of times I go into a grocery store and the person who's checking me out can't even look me in the eye is unreal. Just say hello. How are you? What's been the best part of your day? And seek more out of your life. Never settle for less, because what a lot of people do is they set the barrier, they set the ceiling, they set the limit right above their head because they think that's where it is. When in all reality, the limit is all the way across the street. You can't even fucking see it. You haven't even come close to it. Because I don't care how hard you're working, I have to remind myself this all of the time. There is always another level. And that doesn't mean that you have to do more. That means you have to do better with what you're doing and give enough effort. If you go with the crowd, then you're going to live an average, mediocre life. So my message here for you guys is dare to be different and never fucking settle. So go out today and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be.